A very warm welcome in the class of Mathematics 1. Today our topic is method of Lagrange's multiplier. This topic comes under the module of function of several variables and its maximization minimization. Already we have covered up 2 classes. Now today we are going to cover up the 3rd class under this section. So myself Rupam Bhattacharya, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, GIS College of Engineering. So those who are under the proper sequential advancement of this particular course, they can particularly identify that what are the prerequisites of this particular class. That is, first of all, we will be able to identify that what are the critical points. This idea is required, and you know that if a function f for several variables x and y is given, the generation of the critical points will be depending on fx equal to 0, fy equal to 0, and we have to have some idea on the type of extrema, means the type of maximum, the type of minimum, as well as we must have the idea on saddle points and the standard procedure what we are practicing for finding out them. But for this class specifically, we need to know what is the meaning of constrained situation. That means, suppose you are free to do something, you are asked to do something and you are free to do something. So that means you are doing that without any constraint or limitation or restriction. But in some cases, if you are asked to do something with some condition, that means you have to follow the condition. Within that, you have to bring out the maximum output. That means this situation is termed as constrained situation. This will be more clear in the context of maxima minima in this class. So we are proceeding further. We have to find out the maximum and minimum values of whom the function fxy. So if it is up to this, already we have learned what to do, how to do. But in this constant situation, the fact is that we have to find out the maximum and minimum of the function fxy on the curve gxy equal to 0. That means this is your constraint, because you are not freely finding out the maximum or minimum value of the function fxy. If you can find it out, if you are asked to find it out, you are in unconstrained situation. But here you are asked to find out the value where the curve gxy is equal to 0. So this is the concept of constraint situation. Now it is coming under constraint optimization problem, because we have to optimize the value in the context of maxima or minima. And here this fxy is called the objective function. That means the function which we are trying to optimize. And gxy is called the constraint function. That means which will restrict us to do it freely. So obviously, if the objective function changes but the constraint function remains same, the ultimate output in general will change. Similarly, if your objective function remains same but your constraint function changes, then in general the output should be changed. And the application point of view, this idea is very much important in economics, where utility functions are used to model the relative usefulness or desirability or preferences of various economic choices. This is actually the mathematics what we should know, what we should follow, that where we are going to apply this concept. So when the live class will be going on, these types of examples will be provided to you so that one dialogue or interaction can happen. Now, what is the meaning of Lagrange's multiplier and what is the method we are going to follow? Check it out. So we have fxy and gxy and the continuous partial derivatives in the region of R2, because we are taking the function of several variables in two variables x and y, so our job will be done in R2, that contains the curve C given by the equation gxy equal to 0, that means the constraint function. Now if we assume that del g xy is not equal to 0 there, and if f restricted to the curve C, then it has a local extreme value at a point AB on C. That means look at this AB is on C, it is not freely available in the whole domain. Then there is a real number delta, which is called, sorry, here it is termed as lambda. There is a real number lambda, which is called the Lagrange multiplier, or sometimes it is termed as Lagrange's multiplier, which will follow the condition this one is equal to this one. Okay, so if you just distribute this, then what you will get, that fx, that means partial differentiation of f with respect to x, will be equal to the partial differentiation of g with respect to x will be same, and along with this lambda multiplier. Similarly for the partial differentiation y. When we are going to solve the problem today in this class, in this lecture basically, then the concept will be more and more clear. So our job is to build up the list of candidate points, means those points which will follow these conditions. And then we have to evaluate fxy at each xy of this list of candidates, because all of them are equally having the chance for being the desired output, and the biggest of the candidate value is the absolute maximum, and the smallest of the candidate values will automatically be the absolute minimum. So this process also helps us to find out this one, as well as this process also helps us to find out this one. Clear? Now the example is something like that. We have to find out the maximum and minimum of x square minus 10x minus y square. So what is this? This is nothing but our fxy. Clear? On the ellipse, x square plus 4y square is equal to 16. So what is this? This is our gxy, that means the constant function. This is our objective function, this is our constant function. So for this problem, the objective function is this and the constant function is this, which is already I have stated. Then the first order derivative of these functions are fx, that means first order partial differentiation with respect to x, will be 2x minus 10, and the partial differentiation of f with respect to y will be minus 2y. It is very much clear from this part. And for gx, it will be x square plus 4y square minus 16. So if you partially differentiate g with respect to x, you will get simply 2x. And if you partially differentiate g with respect to y, you will get 8y. So all these are calculated. Now according to the method of Lagrange's multiplier, we have to find out all the solutions. So solution will be nothing but the equality of these two things with one multiplier lambda. So 2x minus 10 will be equal to lambda into 2x, because fx is lambda gx and fy is lambda gy. It will give you minus 2y is equal to lambda 8y. From this we have to find out the value of lambda. Now our target most probably will be clear, that for all types of functions and all types of constraints the structure is same. Okay, structure is same, but try to imagine, if in all cases lambda is same, then will it be a logical one? Most probably not. So our job is to find out this value of lambda, that means find out the value of this multiplier depending on the variation of the objective function and constant function and the corresponding calculations like this. So this will give you this particular equation and this will give you this particular equation. It is just nothing but the taking x into one side and keeping the remaining as on the different side. And if we make gxy equal to 0, so gxy is equal to 0 means x square plus 4y square is equal to 16. That means it is already given. Now from 7b, this means this equation, we see that we must have either lambda equal to minus 1 by 4 or y equal to 0, otherwise their product will not be 0. Now if lambda is equal to minus 1 by 4, this first equation gives us that x equal to 4, and the 7c, that means this last equation, gives us that y equal to 0, because if you put x equal to 4 here, you will get this will be 16 minus 16 will be cancelled out, so 4y square equal to 0 means y equal to 0. Clear? Now what we get, if y equal to 0, then this one will give you x equal to plus minus 4, because we have both the options, lambda equal to minus 1 by 4 and y equal to 0. For lambda equal to 1 by 4, this is judged. Now for y equal to 0, we have to check the judgment of this one and we get x equal to plus minus 4. So we have the following table of the candidates. What are the points? The points are 4 and 0 and the points are minus 4 and 0. And we get the values of f. Putting this particular thing in this equation where f is this x square minus 10x minus y square, what do you see? The values of f is minus 24 and values of f at this particular point is 56. So these two values gives us the indication that which one will be minimum and which one will be maximum. So look at this, we are not proceeding by any manner where capital D is calculated in the last two classes. Here we are just doing it some different way, and this is the process of applying the Lagrange's multiplier method. Now if we proceed further, look at the application. Here firstly we have to emphasize on the question, because the solution will be given to you for your own understanding. The question is very important. What is said? Find the rectangle of largest area which sides parallel to the coordinate axis, because you can inscribe the ellipse is here. You can make one rectangle like this also, maybe, if all the criteria, all the properties are same. But here it is crystal clearly said that you have to make the sides parallel with coordinate axes. So look at this, these two are parallel to this and these two are parallel to this. Now the variations can be keeping the ellipse same. So this is also one rectangle, This is also one rectangle. We can draw a rectangle like this one also. So among this all possible infinite number of rectangles, our target is to find out the rectangle which is having the largest area. So try to imagine, try to understand that what is your objective function here and what is your constraint function here. First of all, your job is to identify both of them. Then only you will apply the concept or rather technique or tool, whatever you want to say, or Lagrange's multiplier method. Okay. So I am not going to elaborate this solution. I just want to show you that look at this. The constraint part is this one. That means the ellipse, and the objective function is nothing but the area of the rectangle, which is fxy is equal to 4xy. Why 4xy? Because if you see this particular length, this particular length, and this particular length, and this one, if this is xy, obviously it will be x minus y. If this is minus x minus y, it will be x minus y. So what is the length of this one? What is the length of this one? So it runs from minus y to y. So it is having 2y, and it runs from minus x to x. So it will be 2x. Though we don't know which x, which y, we are going to find it out for our requirement, but we know that their area will be 4xy. That is why fxy is equal to 4xy is taken, and after that the problem is solved, and finally they get the rectangle of largest area has the vertex 1 by root 2 comma 1 by 2 in the first quadrant. Clear? So go through this particular thing sequentially, and then the whole discussion will be clear to you. Now we are going to start another problem, that is finding out the objective function xy with the constraint function 5x plus y is equal to 13 by Lagrange's multiplier method. So our job is to find out the maximum or the minimum value of this one with this restriction. I have taken a very simple example because I do have some different motivation. So let us construct this function as capital F as xy plus lambda into 5x plus y minus 13. So del f del x will be calculated. It will be y plus 5 lambda. Del f del y will be calculated. It will be x plus lambda, and del f del lambda will be calculated, which is nothing but 5x plus y minus 13. Simple partial differentiation of this whole equation. Now all of them has to be equated to 0. So fx equal to 0 gives you what? Gives you y is equal to minus 5 lambda. Fy equal to 0 gives you what? X equal to minus lambda. And if lambda equal to 0 gives you what? The constraint equation, that is 5x plus y is equal to 13. Clear? Now if we put these two in this particular equation, because our target is to find out the value of lambda, so what we get? 5 into minus lambda plus of minus 5 lambda for this y is equal to 13, which gives you the value lambda equal to 13 by 10 along with a minus sign. Clear? Now, as the value of lambda is already achieved, we will get the value of x by putting the value of lambda over here. So the value of x will become 13 by 10 and the value of y will become minus 5 lambda. So minus minus plus 13 by 2. Clear? So this point is now in our hand, for which we are going to have this constraint extremization, but we don't know what value we are going to get as extreme one. Is it maximum or is it minimum? So now we are going to follow this D2F method. We know that from our class of several variables, D2F is nothing but del x dx plus del y dy whole square, which is nothing but del 2, we should write f del 2 f del x2 dx square plus del 2 f del y2 dy square plus 2 into del 2 f del x del y dx dy. Okay, it is our standard formula, and also we have proved this. So what we will do, we will find out the D2F for our specific problem. Del 2F del x2 we need, del 2F del y2 we need, and del 2F del x del y we need. So if we go back here and if we find out that our fxy is equal to xy, so fx is y, fy is x, fxx is 0, fyy is 0, fxy is 1. So we get it here, fxx 0, so nothing to write, fyy 0, so nothing to write. So only the last term gives us 2 into 1 into dx dy. But we need to have some conclusion that d2f less than 0, greater than 0, what will be the value, what will be the type? But if it is dx dy, it is not possible for us to find it out. So what we are doing, we are using the tricks that the relationship between x and y is 5x plus y is equal to 13. So 5 dx plus dy is equal to 0. So dy is equal to minus 5 dx. We are using this. Where? We are using it here. So 2 into 1 into dx into minus 5 dx. So what we get? Minus 10 dx square. What we can write? It is a square term, that means it will always be greater than equal to 0, and it is minus 10, so it is guaranteedly less than 0 because it is having some square term with minus 10. So d2f is less than 0, which gives us the conclusion that we are going to get the value as the maximum. We are having the decision that at this point we are going to get extremum, but which types of extremum we don't know. So first of all, find out the process is done. Next, we have classified it, and finally we have to find out the value of the maximum point. So it is the simplest or rather simplest step of this particular problem. We have to put the values in the objective function, and if we put these values in the objective function, our objective function is x into y, so it will be 13 by 10 into 13 by 2, that is our value is 169 by 20. So what is my target over here? Xy is our objective function. Please try to visualize, and our restriction is 5x plus y is equal to 13. So this is drawn in Desmos platform. This is the straight line which is actually 5x plus y is equal to 13. And all these are nothing but xy. It is xy equal to 1. Then the next one is xy equal to 2. Then the next one is xy equal to 3, and so on. So you can ask, sir, why you have taken 1, 2, 3, then directly 10, and then why 8.45? I am going to give you the elaborate discussion on this. Xy equal to 1 is here as well as here. So it is our fourth quadrant, and our straight line is not having any part in the fourth quadrant. Sorry, it is the third quadrant. Basically, our straight line is not having any part in the third quadrant. Our straight line is having part in the fourth quadrant, but the xy, our objective function, is not having any contribution in the fourth one. Similarly, in this second quadrant, no one is here. Ultimately, when this straight line will cut, there will be some part in the second quadrant, but as this is not there, there is no question of having any common part. So common part is only present in our first quadrant. Now look at this. When you are having this straight line and this red line is nothing but xy is equal to 10, so more than 10 will come here, come here, come here, come here. So there will be no question of having any intersection. We need to find out a point which is going to be the common on both the platforms. That means it will be present in xy as well as it will be present in the constant function, that is 5x plus y equal to 13, in such a manner that we will get the maximum value. Okay, so according to the drawing, if you don't know any process, the last process, look at this, the drawing gives you this point where this straight line cuts over here, this straight line cuts this particular one over here, next one over here, but what is the value we are getting? This is the straight line where we are having the tangent of this particular thing, and we are having only one point which cuts, and the point is 1.3 and 6.5. What is 1.3? 1.3 is nothing but 13 by 10. And what is 6.5? It is nothing but 13 by 2. The points what we get in the previous calculation by following the process, I am trying to make it pictorially presentable in front of you, and what is the geometry behind that. And if you take some more xy, then it will not be coming under any intersection. Then which point on xy will be having the highest one? So this is the process of visualizing this. You can also take the different problems, and you can also judge it by online curve drawing softwares or platforms. We are having a long session on this particular Lagrange's multiplier method, so I am not going to extend this, but just I want to say one type of problem, that suppose there is a question not given directly in the Lagrange's form, that find the point on the plane x plus 2y plus 3z is equal to 13 nearest to the point 1 1 1 using the method of Lagrange's multiplier. I am not solving this, I just want to say that what is the case that if you have a plane and suppose if you have a point, it is asked that on this plane which is the point on lying this plane as well as nearest to 1 1 1. So look at this, there are infinite number of points on this plane and there are infinite distances. Among them, which one is nearest? So obviously before applying Lagrange's method, you have to structure the objective function, because here you got the constraint but the objective function is not given. But it is very simple that when you are trying to find out the distance, we know that the distance, if it is d, then d square will be x minus 1 whole square plus y minus 1 whole square plus z minus 1 whole square. So you got this particular thing as your objective function. Then the remaining part is as a stereotype, as we have already covered it up. So for this class we don't have any more thing. Now the assignments are there. You have to solve these assignments in descriptive manner also it is given, and do practice the problems because it is very much required to perform the problem successfully. I have taken the references from these resources to prepare this lecture. And finally, I want to thank you all for your kind patience. Happy listening, happy learning.